The first time that I heard about the House of Latex was from my gay mother, Avis Pendavis. They just, stormed in and, had conversations with Jimmy C, and that's how the birth of the House of Latex began. The reason why Avis Pendavis became my mother when I was about 17, 16, was because I went to her house to become a member of the House of Pendavis. And she was in her living room sewing her outfits and all that. And some of the other kids that brought me there were like, oh, this is, Louis. At the time I was Louis. Louis wants to join the house and, blah, blah, blah. And so she was like talking to me and, the exchange was wonderful. But then there was something beautiful that she did that I was like, this is my mother. She said, why don't you guys go next door to the room next door and say hi to your sister? And so, me still confused about the lingo of ballroom, I was like, sister, So I follow everybody else, and I go in the room. There was a person that was laying in a bed, and it was Foxy Pendavis who was dying, and Avis, being a mother, was taking care of her daughter. Foxy died not long after that, but that was the first time that I saw somebody like really going through it because of AIDS. I used to keep a list of all of my friends that were HIV positive that died because I did not want to forget them. Because sometimes when you know so many people in the ball scene, you kind of, forget them with time. And sometimes ballroom celebrates them, but, it's rare to find memories of people because we didn't really like videotape or have clips of some of the people that died. So I kind of wanted to remember them. I remember that list was already like in the 70s. And then I just stopped doing it because I thought that it was like this morbid thing that I was holding on to. I was holding on to these names for no reason. And well, I mean, there was a reason in my heart, but I figured, I could keep them in my mind and in my heart. And I remember, we lost Willie Ninja, we lost Denise Pendavis Milan. There was a lot of people. There was Terry Milan and just hundreds of people. The ballroom scene lost hundreds and hundreds. As a matter of fact, a couple of World AIDS days ago, the ballroom did some special event, and I think it was connected to an agency in Harlem, and they had a list, literally, of all the people that died in the ballroom, and it was in the 400s, at that time. More people have died since, and then there's names, obviously, that people forgot, and then there's names of people that people forgot because the other person died that would know who that person was. So ballroom was one of the hardest hits because we were such a small community of people. We were hit hard with AIDS, and information wasn't being given to us. And, ballroom is about the showing off and the glamour and the who you know and all of that. And, to go in there and say, oh, there's this thing happening out there called AIDS, you have to be careful. People didn't want to, think about it and talk about it. I remember watching once Octavia St. Laurent saying that in 1981, people didn't even know what the fuck condoms were in 1981. And so I thought that was such a, coming from her, such a powerful statement because really that was our reality back then was that we didn't know that you had to just simply put on a condom for protection. Nobody was telling us that it would happen to us, uptown. The community wanted GMAC to be a part of, helping them in trying to figure out how can we help the community, the house and ball community. At the time, we didn't have anything really. Nobody was actually servicing us. And so GMAC was special because, they were able to, provide us services and bring us condoms. We needed information at that time because information wasn't really provided. I mean, a bunch of my friends were becoming infected. I myself was infected, or even before I even knew what a latex was, or even joined the ballroom scene. You know, the House of Latex as a house began because um, at first they would show up and have a table. They were doing tabling basically, and people did not want to get near the table. And so, because of stigma attached to, if you're taking the condom, obviously, you probably have HIV/AIDS. And this is like the early days of in the 90s, of latex and all of that. So somebody, I forgot who it was, but somebody suggested, why don't you guys create like a house within it? And so, because if they see that some of the participants are members of the house and ball community, then people will probably be more, they'll be a little bit more approachable. And the conversations began around 89, 90. I believe the first ball was probably around 91, 92. And my first latex ball was around 93, 94, from if I can remember that correctly. And I remember that actually I walked that ball. I remember that I was wearing platforms because at the time I was a drags runway. And so I remember wearing platforms, a big afro wig because the category was supposed to be runway from a different era. So I wanted to do the 60s, but you were supposed to have some safer sex stuff on you. So I remember I had these balloons, and I remember that I had little in my skirt or whatever. I had condoms like sort of like pinned on my outfit, and so that was sort of like my little safer sex message as I was walking. I remember that everybody just like was cheering and all of that, and it was pretty fun at that time. So. It's interesting because when I talk to young people who are becoming infected and I tell them how long I've been infected, 28 years, this and that, they're always in awe, like, wow, 28 years? And I was like, yeah, and before medications. And so I take pride in that because obviously I'm here for a reason, right? And I always looked at things happen for reasons. All of my friends died. Some even died, right after finding out. Why is it that I'm still here? So, that's one of the reasons why I'm so involved and I try to talk to young people, try to tell them my story so they can learn something from it, either infected or almost going to be infected or, don't get infected. But I try to talk to young people all the time about trying to, keep it cute. So I'm a grandfather now in my 40s. And the roles are still the same. Being a grandfather is still being, loving and giving and supportive and all of that. And I mean, I'm always going to do that, even if I don't have a house.